Hey Internet, Adrian here for Digital Dojos. I got my start here on YouTube reviewing technology products, and there was a time and place where I got to call that my career and what I do for a living. So it pains me when I have a bunch of products that I've gotten over time that I don't get to share my insight on, or like I get it and I mean to make content on it, time passes, the new next generation thing comes out, and I feel like my insight isn't as important at that point. So I want to introduce the micro review, where I kind of give you high-level thoughts on a lot of products and reviewing quickly a bunch of tech just to kind of get my thoughts and insight out there that may be useful to other people. And if you want a more in-depth review on any of these products, drop it down in the comments below, and I can look to potentially do a future video, a more in-depth, at length opinion piece on some of these. So with that, we're going to talk about, again, who these products are for, what they do, and is it worth it? How long I've had it to kind of give you some context on it, and then my personal thoughts and opinions. And with that, let's jump into the products that I have for you today. Starting with some smart home speakers. The Echo Dot 5th generation. This is the entry-level smart speaker for Amazon's ecosystem, and currently one of the cheaper ones that you can get in their lineup of products at $60. It often goes on sale for like $45 or $50. This is the clock edition, so it just has like a little LED clock in there. This is great for people who are looking to dive into the smart home ecosystem or add on to their existing Amazon Echo line of products. I've had this for about 4 to 5 months, and it replaced my Echo Show as my main nightstand smart home controller. I wanted to get away from having a screen on my nightstand when I'm sleeping, so I didn't have that in my face, and the Echo Dot is the perfect subtle design while having that clock feature being perfect for a nightstand. Personally, I love this thing. I quite literally use it every day. It's the main voice assistant I use in my bedroom. It is my alarm clock. It allows me to do reminders. It allows me to control various aspects of my smart home. It has a decent speaker, even though I don't use it for music listening personally. It has Eero extension built in, so if you have an Eero network or router, it can act as a mesh router for you to extend your Wi-Fi in your home. It has presence detection built in, so it can run automations based on when you walk into the room. For the $60 price point, the Echo Dot pretty much gets the thumbs up of approval on one of the top end entry smart home speaker systems that you can get. And I would argue, if you're looking to get started and Amazon is the kind of ecosystem you want to go with, the Echo Dot's for you. Now, on the opposite spectrum, you have Apple and their HomePod Mini, which I picked up to kind of compare around the same time I got the Echo Dot 5th gen. And this comes in a little pricier at $99. I've had it for about the same time, but this definitely doesn't get as much use case as I thought it would. And that's because it takes a lot to change your entire ecosystem. This was more a trial entry for me to see how I'd like using HomeKit as my main smart home based system. But yeah, this comes in at $99. It's meant to be the exact same thing for Apple and HomeKit users, that entry-level smart home speaker. My takeaway thoughts here are this is definitely the better speaker in terms of audio quality between the two in my experience, and one of the best mini speakers that you can get when it comes to these smart home entry-level devices. But for me, personally, the voice assistant Siri isn't as well versed and feature packed as something like Amazon or Google systems. And I can see if you are already in the HomeKit ecosystem and you really want everything to work well with your iPhone, iPad, iOS, even though I'm fully in the Apple ecosystem, it just wasn't enough for me to quite switch over just yet. I think there has to be a couple more stuff that Apple does in their overall HomeKit implementation to even entice me to swap over. But if you are already there, then yeah, the HomePod Mini is going to be perfect for you. All right, moving outside of this smart home tech, let's talk about gaming and Valve's Steam Deck in particular. This is a PC handheld from the makers of Steam, the Steam game library, that a lot of PC gamers may be familiar with, and it's Valve's first iteration into the hardware portable gaming market. They've definitely done some hardware in the past, but this is their first portable PC. And that's the perfect way to put it, because this can do a lot. It can run AAA titles, it can run indie games, it can run emulators, it can run a full-blown desktop OS, Linux or Windows. You can dock this just like a Nintendo Switch and play on a big screen. This, for all intents and purposes, is a Nintendo Switch on steroids. And coming in at a baseline of $400 to $500 now that this is publicly released to the, you don't have to like pre-order it, you can just buy one of these. This is definitely going to be a game changer for the handheld market. I've had this for nearly a year. I got mine back in April of last year on the pre-order wave, and was fortunate to have it for quite some time and get it a little bit early. But yeah, I've definitely enjoyed this from a portable gaming perspective, and it's really changed the way I've played certain titles or even just approach certain games that I only will play on something like the Steam Deck. But the great advantage of something like this as a PC gamer by trade is that I have my entire Steam library on this out of the box. I didn't have to buy any games because I just had all of my library already on this from my Steam library. This is something that is super versatile because you can do so much with it. There's a lot of tweaking you can do, and that's originally why I got it, because I really wanted to try emulators and have this be like a replacement for all this stuff you see behind me and be an all-in-one device. And in fairness, it can be that. It's just that I, after some time, didn't bother setting all that stuff up and just used it for certain titles, and it became the device I go to when I travel. Because when I'm at home, I'm going to be gaming on my PC and my big screen and my setup here. If I'm playing consoles, I'm going to be gaming on my console setup. This is primarily for me when I'm traveling. This is the perfect device to go and pick up and play when I'm playing on my PC and I need to leave, and I want to pick this on the go when I'm commuting or traveling. That's what this has become, and it is so versatile and so powerful that if you didn't have any of this, all this other stuff, this could be that device for you. So I think Steam Deck in particular is the best handheld out right now in current times. For casual gamers who really don't care about a lot of that stuff, don't really necessarily care about, the versatility, having an OS, all that good stuff, don't want to tweak a lot of their hardware, then something like the Nintendo Switch might be more tempo for somebody like that. But otherwise, I think this is just the most versatile handheld gaming device you can get right now. Next up, I want to talk about some more Apple products, in particular the M1 and M2 MacBook Pros and the M2 iPad Pro. So 2 Pro devices in Apple's ecosystem that I had picked up in the last couple of years. This is my personal MacBook. This is the M1 that I got nearly 2 years ago at that. And this was and is the top of the line MacBook in Apple's ecosystem. So it's the best laptop you can get currently with the M2 chip. It's for professionals and power users, is who it's geared towards. And my thoughts on this is that Apple Silicon was a game changer. When the M1 laptop came out, this model right here, the 14-inch form factor, the Apple Silicon and them going all in-house really truly changed how you view just current generation CPUs and hardware. Apple really nailed it with Apple Silicon, and the change and migration to it really showed in performance and speeds and just day-to-day tasks. I have this as my personal laptop. I have another M1 Max laptop that is my work machine, and that is all spec'd out with 64 gigs and whatnot. So I effectively have 2 M1 laptops, so I definitely vouch for these devices. I never made the jump to the M2 one just because my M1 has been that reliable. But that being said, I did make the jump to the M2 iPad Pro, which I picked up not that long ago. I think nearly 3.5 months, maybe 4 months ago, to test this out. So to kind of wrap up my thoughts on the MacBook Pro before I jump into this, it's the best top-of-the-line MacBook you can get right now. And I would argue whether it's the M1 or M2 MacBook Pro, if you are somebody who wants the best power and you're in the Apple ecosystem and you're looking for a new laptop, content creators, designers, musicians, so on and so forth, you're not going to be disappointed in the MacBook Pro M2 or M1 lineup. Otherwise, I would say for majority of users out there who don't want to spend as much, you want a little bit more portability, the M2 Air is great for a lot of people. It does a lot more than it gets credit for, and it's a really, really, truly great machine. I do love this 14-inch form factor on the MacBook Pro, I will say, however, because it brought back ports like HDMI, SD card, and MagSafe. So yeah, I'll leave it at that. Moving back to the M2 iPad Pro here, I bought this to replace my iPad Pro 2018. This is their top-of-the-line iPad, very similar to the MacBook Pro, but for their tablets. This is also geared towards power users, designers, content creators, people who rely on their tablets for heavier workflows. And this is just a ridiculous amount of power. It's that same exact processor I was talking about in the laptop in the iPad, quite literally. For those of you who have the M1 iPad Pro, I think there's no reason to upgrade to this. It's overkill. It's like a marginal difference at that if you're on the M1 iPad Pro already. If you're someone like me who was on the iPad Pro 2018, then yes, it's going to be a pretty decent jump in terms of performance. And if you're somebody who relies on your iPad heavily for day-to-day usage for whatever it may be, then this may be the iPad for you. However, this is the cream of the crop iPad. I think that majority will be sufficed with the iPad Airs, the standard iPads, if not the iPad minis. However, if you're somebody who uses this for work, or it's like your main device, where a lot of people nowadays may not have a laptop, they might just have a tablet, and they want all the bells and whistles, then the iPad Pro is going to be for you. But nowadays, with this kind of coming in closer to the $1,000 price point, you're kind of competing against like something like the M2 MacBook Air. So again, I would argue for the majority of users out there, you do not need this. I personally didn't even need it for what I use it for. I'm happy I got it, but at the end of the day, this is definitely going to be for the power users who really rely on a tablet workflow or rely on the tablet as their main device and prefer it over something like a laptop. Right, and that wraps up my quick thoughts and reviews on some of the tech here that I have in front of me that I decided to pick out for this video. I have more tech that I definitely want to get these micro reviews out on and get more of this content out there just to kind of knock out a bunch of reviews at once. So I hope you enjoyed, hope you got some insight from it and maybe interested in some of these products or helps you answer some questions that you have about some of these products. Again, feel free to leave comments down below if you want to see more in-depth reviews on some of the stuff. Maybe you want to see some quick reviews on some of the items back here. Who knows? With that, ladies and gentlemen, as always, I thank you for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one.